1% for the oil producing community is too low.
But the support that is needed, and once you get the support, your airline people will blossom.
This is Nigeria. You need to give people sense of belonging.
Good morning, viewers. It's another edition of Inside Nigeria for Thursday morning, October 28, 2021. Of course, my name is Bode Badibo, and I'm not alone. I'm with my regular co-anchor, Winifred Ogbebo. Winifred, good morning.
Good morning, Bode. Good to have you on Saturday.
Yes.
And for our viewers, good morning. Welcome to Inside Nigeria.
And of course, our viewers can see that our regular Wednesday guest is appearing on the Thursday show. Welcome, Jide Ojo, an Abuja-based public affairs analyst and TV host. Good morning, Jide.
It's a pleasure, buddy.
Yes. It's nice having you on a Thursday like this.
Same here.
And it's also interesting to announce to both of you that today is the eve of my birthday.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Nadia.
birthday.
Thank you so much.
So we're going to have a ball tomorrow.
I hope
in
so.
the studio.
I hope so.
I must get my invite.
Okay, yes, sure. Yeah, the planning committee is at work. Viewers, as usual, we started with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, The Leadership. On the front page of Leadership this morning, 2022 budgets, defense, Senate rejects 287 billion loan request for water projects. 2022 budget, defense, Senate rejects 287 billion naira loan request for water projects. Someone minister says no visible results for previous loans. Approves 1,000 naira daily feeding for prisoners. The 287 billion naira, it's about $700 million. A loan request rejected yesterday by the Senate Committee on Foreign and Local Loans, put forward by the Ministry of Water Resources.
You know, I think it's a poem. Water everywhere, but none to drink.
Too bad.
We have River Niger, we have River Benue, River Kaduna, River Oshun, and all of that. But yes, we still spend billions on water. Desirably so, there's nothing wrong because you can't go fetch water from the river and drink directly. Otherwise, there are waterborne diseases that you might be liable to, like typhoid, like river blindness, and all of that. So, what government is doing with bulk of is, and we have a ministry, a separate ministry for water resources, which is in charge. This water resource used to be under Ministry of Agriculture and Water Resources. Yes. But now we decided to find job for the boys. So water resources, there we have dams, we have irrigation, we have water projects, pipeline, river basins authority, and it's huge. But I like what the senators said. They summoned the minister for no visible result for previous loans. So if you have been borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, and you cannot see the effect of previous borrowing, how many dams have been constructed or rehabilitated, how many more Nigerians have potable water? Do you know, in this FCT Abuja where we are, in my community, we still buy water. We rely on pipe borehole. Yes. So Abuja should have even been a model city. There should be no community in Abuja without access to potable water. Unfortunately, it's only the eyebrow area that have water. Many more families, many more landlords have to dig boreholes for their tenants to consume. And that is why now Nigerians are paying through their nose despite having a Ministry of Water Resources. Did you know that a sachet of what we call pure water now is 20 naira?
Yes.
This is what we used to buy for 5 naira. Now it's 20 naira a sachet. And this is rainy season. Just imagine when we hit December during the peak of Ramadan, people get thirsty more. Yes. And you might see situations where, a sachet of pure water may actually be sold for 30 or 50 naira. And this is why I like what the National Assembly is going to say. We have not seen results from previous loans. Come and show us evidence that the previous loans that have been approved have yielded positive results, because a lot of corruption still runs our borrowing. Like I've written in my column, I'm not averse to borrowing, but borrowing for what? Is there value for money? Are we able to track effectively the implementation of the project for which we are borrowing, so that at the end of the day, this borrowing actually delivered on improved, there is what is called improved service delivery. And that we cannot say. I like the second rider, which is on what I wrote in my column in the Punch yesterday about the situation that leads to jailbreak. And I did say, among other things in that article, that look, poor feeding and sanitary condition of prison actually lead to restiveness, which has led to prison riot and escape of some of the inmates. You can just imagine. I read that even hitherto, what is spent to feed a prisoner is less than 700 naira. And because it's maybe 500 naira. Because what the correctional services themselves are asking for Senate approval for is 750 naira to increase how much you spend to feed the inmate for 750 naira. So it is the magnanimity of the senators that they even say, even you as Controller General, can you feed 250 naira per meal? Per meal. So we are supposed to have 3 meals in a day. No wonder people tell us that when there is watery beans, they said, am I a prisoner? Why are you serving this watery beans? So even with 1,000, I know you, unless you go to this what we call, my friend used to call them cholera joints. When you go to this mama put roadside, very dirty environment, that's where you may get maybe food for a plate of rice or a plate of any meal for 500 naira. So even with 1,000, which comes to about 300 naira per meal, 350, 300 naira per meal, I'm not sure that you have any decent meal for inmate. But well, I hope that serves as a disincentive for people to go into crime, so that they don't face that kind of
before we go, I want to take you back again on this borrowing by ministries. Yesterday, we also saw that the Senate also turned down health ministry's request too for $200 million
mosquito net
to purchase mosquito nets. It's coming at a time why I'm worried, Mr. Ojo, is that now we have a malaria vaccine in the market, and this ministry is saying they want to go and borrow loan to buy mosquito nets. And during late Professor Babatunde Oshotime's tenure as minister, the donor agencies actually gave federal government 63 million mosquito nets, which eventually found themselves
to the market.
They
are COVID-19 palliatives.
I covered it that time.
No, COVID-19 palliatives. You didn't see the one for Benue being sold in Kano market. This is what we are talking about. Corruption. It's not just about stealing money or taking money out. Even when you sell what is meant to be given out free, it's corrupt practice.
I think there is also getting our priorities right.
Right.
For example, the $200 million, maybe 1/4 of that money is what we need to give to researchers.
Exactly. It bleeds my heart that we are spending so much in procuring mosquito net that are eventually sold to people when it's supposed to. I think it's on this program we reviewed the issue of free metering.
Yes.
By discos.
Yes.
Government paid for free metering. Yeah, no, it's leadership that broke that story. Yeah. That did that story. That people still paid for meters that are supposed to be given to you free. Exactly. The same thing will happen to this mosquito net. They will say they have procured 200 million mosquito net, but when you ask them how many are the beneficiaries, can we have the names and number? They will come up with fictitious names.
I'm sorry, they are not taking the loan to buy high-tech equipment.
Exactly. Mosquito net.
MR machine,
Why
CT
shouldn't
scan, radiotherapy
why shouldn't people be allowed to go and purchase their own mosquito net and spend that money to do research, or to procure even vaccine for Nigerians? Because once we are vaccinated, and of course there is no saying that for over 40 years Nigeria has been trying to roll back malaria without success. So even now that we have been told that there is a vaccine, that kind of money you can use it to procure and get children below 5 years, from 5 years down, free vaccination, and the adult can pay a token for vaccination, because there are some of us that are prone to malaria, particularly depending on your genotype.
Yes.
So I think we are getting our priorities wrong, and that's why this is the kind of thing we expect National Assembly to do. It's not just turning themselves to rubber stamp that anything the executive brings is in public interest and they must approve it. That's why people have been interrogating all these loans, trillions that we have collected in loans. What can we see that have been achieved with those loans?
Exactly, that's a very, very germane question. We need to move away from that to the front page of our sister publication, the National Economy.
National Economy today says, absence of intermodal transport plan threatens proposed deep sea ports. Absence of intermodal transport plan threatens proposed deep sea ports as Nigerian banks on Lekki, Badagry, Ibom, others deep sea ports.
There are plans to establish deep sea ports in some locations, but from the report by our correspondent in Lagos, Yusuf Babalola, that the absence of intermodal transport system is actually threatening this project. And before we hear from you, the writer of the story is waiting for us from Nigeria's commercial capital of Lagos to actually share more light on this story. Good morning, Yusuf Babalola.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, everybody.
How is Lagos this morning?
Yeah, Lagos is normal hustle and bustle. I'm also on the road going to the office.
Okay.
All right. Tell our viewers the story about absence of intermodal transport system and as it threatens the proposed deep sea ports across the country. Where are we and where are we supposed to be?
Sincerely, we are nowhere. We are nowhere. Because Nigeria, typical Nigerian situation, we put the cart before the horse. These are the things we are supposed to have done. You can't be building a deep sea port and at the same time not linking it, not even providing intermodal evacuation for the deep sea port. What we are relying on is solely roads. The Badagry Road has been on construction for the past 5-6 years now. The Lekki Road is a very tiny road. On the Lekki stretch, we have Lekki Deep Sea Port, we have Dangote Refinery, we also have an industrial city in that axis. So, and Lekki Deep Sea Port is a port that has 13.5 meters draft. And what does this mean? This means bigger vessels will be calling at the deep sea port. These vessels that are called will be 2 times what calls at Apapa Port. Now, with Apapa Port, smaller vessels are calling. With some level of intermodalism, we are having the crisis. Now, if 2 times the size of a ship that call at Apapa Port are now calling at Lekki, calling in Badagry, calls at Ibom Deep Sea Port, I don't know. The implication is better imagined. How do I mean? 13.5 meter deep. Then means bigger vessels. The hub that we have been.
Okay, it's like Yusuf network is being frozen. We'll come back to him. Jude can see what is on the front page of National Economy. We have planned to establish depots. Yeah, in fact, the project have already started. Okay. Okay, Yusuf, we need to come back to you when we can be sure that the network is okay. So there are plans and they are ongoing. Ibom Deep Sea Port, the one in Lekki and Badagry, and we rely solely on road. No railway arrangement to these places to evacuate goods. So what are we talking about?
What are we talking about? We are talking about wrong priorities, like Yusuf have rightly said. We put the cart before the horse. You know, it's even look at how long that Apapa Tinkan Seaport have been in existence. Before this administration is now thinking of linking it with rail line. And that is still under construction. And that's what has led to the collapse of Apapa Highway. That all the people who have houses there, some of them have moved out, rented places out to live in other part of Lagos. Because you can be in that traffic for a whole day without, in fact, you would think that, you know, there is no movement, maybe there is a lockdown. Because trailers moving, they cannot come out. Those who want to go in cannot go in. We didn't think of ancillary services to those seaports, even as we constructed them in the 70s. Now, this is 2021. I don't know if this administration will complete the rail line linkage to Apapa Port before it leaves power in June 12th of 2023. Now, Ibom, there is even no rail facility in Ibom, in Akwa Ibom.
Yes.
Lekki, there is no rail facility there. There is no airport there. There was even a time they were thinking of having another airport on Lagos Island to decongest the mainland. Do you understand? Which will have been reasonable so that you can ferry, you know, you can ferry and you can use cargo plane to lift to the hinterland. Although that will have increased the cost of haulage, but at least it will help not to shut down the Lekki axis, because the wealthy people who lives on Lekki axis will resist everything humanly possible to have this, and that's where you also have Lagos free trade zone. You understand? That's where they are also having Lagos mega city. That's where the Banana Island, where a plot of land costs almost Atlantic City. That's what I mean by Lagos City. Yes. It's all of them are on the island. Now, Apapa used to be an eyebrow area of Lagos where the elite, the middle and upper income class were living in the 60s and 70s. But with increasing port activity, those places are no longer livable because of the traffic congestion. Now, they will do, by the time Dangote refinery come on stream in first or second quarter of 2022, nobody living on Lekki Ajah Expressway will find it easy. Because look at the volume of haulage that will be taking place on the route. Because that's where people will now be moving to go and take fuel to take on to the hinterland. What could otherwise also have been done for liquid evacuation? But what I mean by liquid evacuation is like gas and oil evacuation from somewhere like Dangote, is if we are able to successfully link it to the NNPC pipeline.
Pipeline transportation.
To transport pipeline, so that from there, even if you link it to Mosimi in Shagamu, that will help. So people can go to Shagamu to go and be buying Dangote. But you know what has also worsened the transportation in Apapa is that that's where you also have all the tank farms. Exactly. The Folawiyo, the Ifeanyi Ubans of this world, that's where they have their tank farms. So the tank farm is competing with other goods that are coming into the country. So trailers, articulated vehicles wanting to take fuel will go in. Those who have containers, my Igbo brothers who have imported containers from China, they also want their goods evacuated. And if you don't evacuate on time, you pay demurrage. Exactly. And that is also increasing the cost of goods and services. So I like this. I mean, I want to commend the management of leadership for even calling attention to this. We have all manner of transportation experts, and we have Minister of Transportation. Why are they not thinking out of the box? Why are they just? It's like what Obasanjo did when he was in government. Obasanjo went and started building what they call thermal power stations in Geregu, in Omotosho, in Alauji, in Alaja, all of them. But there was nothing to evacuate. They are just going to produce there. There is no means of evacuation. There is no transmission line to evacuate it from those production areas. So at the end of the day, you commission something, it's producing, but there is no evacuation. And this is not something you go and put inside a warehouse. And that's why, in spite of the fact that we said we are not having enough megawatts of electricity, the ones that are produced are not even being evacuated. The bulk purchasing company is saying that they are running at a loss because people are not buying. Because if you buy, how do you evacuate? The transmission line is so weak that it cannot. Let me give you this analogy. You said you have produced 5,000 megawatts of electricity, but your transmission line can only transport 3,000 megawatts of electricity. So you are losing 2,000 megawatts of electricity that cannot be evacuated, and you are producing on a daily basis. So, but if as you are building those thermal stations, you are also strengthening the transmission lines to be able to evacuate, which is the analogy I'm drawing to issue of intermodal transportation plan for our deep sea port. And lest I forget, apart from this deep sea port thing, there is also dry port that have been established all over the country. There is one in Ibadan.
There is one in Niger.
There is not about 6 of them that were established. Not one container has entered those dry ports because the facilities are not even there in the dry port to be able to even store those, because there is another intermodal transport plan they claim to have, but nothing has been done beyond clearing the sites. No infrastructure in those dry seaports, which will have helped to evacuate some of the goods so that the people can now come to Ibadan, go to Niger to collect their goods rather than traveling all the way to Apapa in Lagos to collect to evacuate their goods. So we need more strategic planning in governance, because I don't really know our leaders, and I'm not talking of governor, president, our ministries, departments, and agencies. Why are we like this? Is this the way it's done in us? And don't forget, every year they spend so much resources to go on what they call learning,
understudy
other places. You now understudy, you come back and not implement.
We need to go on a short break, but before that, I learned our national economic correspondent in Lagos, Yusuf Babalola, is back. Yusuf, can you hear me?
Hello, Yusuf.
I think we've lost the connection again. We need to go on a short break. When we come back, we'll take the discussion further with the third newspaper on our menu this morning. That is the People's Daily.
sponsorship, and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Welcome back. It's still Inside Nigeria on this Thursday morning, October 28th, 2021. Of course, we're still with our guest, Jide Ojo, an Abuja-based public affairs analyst and TV host. Well done, Jide, so far.
It's a pleasure.
I learned our Lagos correspondent, Yusuf Abalola, is back. He needs to conclude his thought before we move forward. Yusuf, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. You must have listened to our guest in the studio. You know, he has done a lot of work for you, analyzing your report. But I need you to conclude your before we allow you to go and mind the.
Yes. Unfortunately, the Minister of Transportation had said it that they don't have the Lekki port in the budget for 2021. So that means nothing, we shouldn't be hopeful. We shouldn't expect any miracle. Let's just hope. I will study the 2022 budget to know whether the Lekki deep sea port or any other deep sea port is already imputed in the budget. But for 2021, it is not there. 2022, let us hope. But you know, building railway is not something you can build overnight. It is something that is a process that will be built, you know, in years, 3, 4, 5 years. And it is also a coastal railway that's going to come there. So I just hope the government will put modalities in place. They will put things in place to look at the impending traffic that they are driving to that side. Badagry is a no-no. Badagry is a no-no because of the road. Lekki has a tiny road.
All right, Yusuf.
In
1 month. I mean, can you hear me? I mean 1 month. They should supply that Lekki road in 1 month. They are going to destroy the road. They will destroy the road. So we have to put all these things in place. Intermodalism, evacuate by rail, evacuate by barges and by road. And when you are evacuating by road, you have to also, you know, build the road in a way that is going to withstand the pressure of, because a cargo, even a container alone, is very, very heavy. Talk less of every other thing. So, no, government needs to do something. It is an impending danger. It is an impending traffic. Or else you will see people moving away from Lekki, just like they moved away from Apapa. You see people moving away, just like they move away from Apapa. So those are the things. Government must act, and the time is now. The time is now.
All right. I think any development that will drive people away from their place is not development, because development should be for the people. Many thanks to you, Yusuf Abalola, National Assembly and economic correspondent. We hope to have you some other time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
To move away from that to politics on our menu this morning. And of course, the next newspaper is the People's Daily.
First time we are reviewing.
Yes.
People's Daily.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know that. People's Daily is just the bulletin. And it's not People's Dailies of China. It's the People's Daily of Nigeria. Well, let's see the front page on the People's Daily this morning. 48 hours to convention. Anxiety as PDP awaits make or break court verdict today. 48 hours to convention. Anxiety as PDP awaits make or break court verdict today. Don't make party ungovernable. BOT chair begs Uche secondos. Jide, I don't know why they are begging secondos, because they were there when secondos was unlawfully chased away from party leadership. Why are they begging him now?
The man is a master politician. He's a grassroots politician.
He has a tenure. Wait for the tenure to end.
In December.
And you are
and you are saying that he has to go now or never. And now they are begging him because they know he has a case. They know if they have a suspicion that it does not have a case, because the man has gone to court to say, look, I'm the one that should be overseeing this convention. You said it should not contest, then you have bridged his tenure by 2 months. Where is that done? I mean, let's face it, I'm not a fan of PDP, I'm not a member of any of the political parties, but I'm all for rule of law, due process. This is not good. You cannot be, okay, just imagine, because you don't like President Buhari's face, you now say his tenure should end in January of 2023. And then you start appealing to him, please don't go to court, or don't go to court. Constitutionally, because this is all about constitutionalism. It's about constitution. You have a constitution of a party. Internal democracy, let's follow due process. Why, even if you don't like the man's face, and you don't want him to recontest, he has every right to recontest. What you can do is to canvass against his re-election and make sure he's defeated. Not that I don't know how that is what has led to the crisis involving APC too. Issue of lack of due process, lack of constitutionalism. You said consensus. Where there's no consensus, go have election. But their own definition of consensus is whatever the governor says or whoever the party leader, if he has agreed to something, that is consensus have been reached. Not forgetting that there are also powerful interests within the party whose opinion also should count. And at the end of the day, you even when other opposing views are being canvassed, you say no, majority carries the vote. That is not the meaning of consensus. If it's all about majority, then go and vote. It's when you vote that you know who is in the majority and who is in the minority. And as it is now, that's why you have crisis in 27 out of 36 states of APC. We do not know how their own crisis will be resolved eventually. But for PDP, they wait with bated breath whether the court will say what you did to secondaries is bad. In which case, you see, I wish PDP has learned from what they did to former governor of Borno State,
yes,
Alimodu Sheriff, when they brought him in for also a 4-year tenure.
Yes.
And because they didn't like his face, they asked him to go, and they set up in Port Harcourt, they set up an former governor McAfee committee to superintend, and that dragged on for 3 years, from 2015 down to 2018. That's why I'm not so surprised about the poor performance of PDP in the 2019 election. Now, you have barely gotten over that. You have engulfed yourself in, because of one person. In the what is it called? Is it National Executive Committee or there are over 20 officers there. Just because you don't like the face of one person who is the chairman, you throw him out. That's what has also happened in Edo State with Danobi. You know, a court of competent jurisdiction has said that Danobi was illegally and unconstitutionally removed because he was at a loggerhead with the governor. So all of this does not make for consolidation of our democracy, where due process will not be followed, where you want to just use force, brute force, to railroad yourself into achieving a predetermined notion. What assurances have we that even if they bring in another person, is it in your child they don't want to bring in? If you bring in your child, how are you sure that 2-3 years down the line, you will not also be telling Prof is it Prof or Doctor that look, you led us into a Waterloo in 2023. You also have to make a way for us. Yeah, we don't want to again. You cannot continue like this. This is a breach of due process. It's a breach of constitution. But let's go away from the due process, constitutionalism, and the rest. A lot of people say this is about the politics of 2023. Some persons want to take the control of the party in order to position themselves for the contest of 2023. You share in that notion? Of course, I do. All of this, whether in APC or PDP, even the crisis that is going on in Apuga, as they call it in Igbo land, the crisis of Apuga, is all about 2023. Because when you are fighting leadership about who should be the chairman or whether the tenure of the chairman is still subsisting or has finished, you know that this time next year it will be about party nomination. But you see, what I found very bitter in all of this is that there are supposed to be the PDP is mocking APC for not having a BOT. This BOT in PDP was there when they were doing what they did to, and that is supposed to be the conscience of the party. So why is Walid now making a plea to Uche Secondus when they were eroding everybody and conducting those congresses, which is, look at Oyo State now, they have 2 parallel congress, one belonging to Mulika Takode Adeola, the former majority leader in House of Reps, another belonging to Seyi Makinde, the governor. There are there, all of these crises is happening, but instead of being the conscience and the custodian of due process, they are part of the whole mess. And once a couple of governors just have their way, plan their own stooges into it, the 2023 elections is already for sale, because that's what is happening. You now give it to the highest bidder. There are so many partisanship or political membership. It's like what we say, one man, one vote. You cannot say because you are a money bag, Winifred, that you should have 5 votes while I have 1, because I do not have the kind of wealth you have. But you see, all this positioning through their congresses and convention is about knowing full well that these are the people that will conduct the party primaries ahead of 2023 elections. So they want their loyalists to be there.
Exactly.
So whoever they don't want to give tickets, they will just screen them out, which is what has happened. The whole crisis that engulfed Abga ahead of this Anambra governorship election, did you know where it emanated from? Because you screened out one member of House of Reps who wanted to be governor. You now said he's not qualified. The man said, hey, I'm not qualified. He went to court. He went to court to challenge the leadership of Victor Oye. And then they said they have a parallel leadership. And that dragged on until just a couple of weeks back, when Supreme Court now said it is Victor Oye that is the subsisting chairman. But that has affected their campaigns while all of this was going on.
All right, today we still continue on the matter. Let's go to Port Harcourt now, where the Port Harcourt division of the Appeal Court is expected to deliver a judgment on Uche Secondo's request to stop this weekend PDP convention. Joining us now is Rivers State correspondent of leadership, Anayo Onuka. Anayo, good morning.
Good morning, Anayo.
All right, we're having issues with that. We don't know whether Anayo can hear us or not. All right, we need to move away since we cannot establish connection with our correspondent in Port Harcourt, where we are expecting the judgment on the PDP convention. Wilfred, we need to see what is on the front page of the last newspaper.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, Anayo, good morning.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Hi,
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Hi, Port Harcourt.
Fine as usual. We are having rain, heavy downpour here.
Okay, that's a sign of good things to happen today, since it is starting with the rain.
It doesn't turn to flood.
Who's good, body?
So tell us what is happening in Port Harcourt. The appeal court in Port Harcourt today will be delivering judgment on Uche Secondo's request to stop the PDP convention. So tell us, has that commenced or not? And what are we expecting to happen?
As it is now, the judgment will be delivered from 12 noon. I just walked past the Court of Appeal premises now. A lot of people are gathering there, and security is also building up gradually, because the decision of the court today will make Omadi Saturday's national convention of the PDP.
So you will be there to tell us, to witness what is happening, and to feed us with a live report.
Funny enough, they don't allow live reports inside the court premise, but I will be inside the courtrooms because I'll be inside the courtroom. Maybe I'll be giving updates via WhatsApp.
Okay, but what is the mood like? How is the environment?
The environment is really tense.
Tense.
I can hear you.
Definitely.
Yeah, the environment is tense.
All right, Anayo, let's keep our fingers crossed and wait till 12 noon when the Court of Appeal in Port Harcourt will be delivering the judgment, which the People's Daily on its front page today described as make or break court verdict. And of course, like you say, we'll be waiting for your live updates from the court. And if possible, probably we have Prince Uche Secondos. You'll get him for us to talk to us on his position. Thank you very much, Anayo. Have a nice day. All right, Winifred, we need to go to the front page of The Nation to see what's happening.
Newspaper. Governors lobby senators, reps against direct primaries.
All right, Winifred, it's like we need to go on a short break before we do that. We need to go on a short break, viewers. When we come back, we will dissect the front page of The Nation newspaper.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. Welcome back. It's still inside Nigeria. Straight to the front page of The Nation newspaper. Winifred, what do we have?
Yes, governors lobby senators, reps against direct primaries. Governors lobby senators, reps against direct primaries. And on the rider, it says, we have gone far with Electoral Act amendment, says Senate spokesman. We've gone far with Electoral Act amendment, says Senate spokesman.
In fact, I don't think they have gone far, because if not for the hanky-panky politics they are playing, that bill ought to have been passed by now. Jide, you are very, very familiar with this. So telling us that they have gone far, I don't think that is true. Now governors are actually trying to draw them back in order to have a rethink on direct primaries, which represents democracy.
Well, you may say so, but there are logistical challenges associated with direct primaries. But that's not to make excuse for
the
why
parties are complaining, not individuals.
No, the parties are actually complaining. No, the parties are complaining. But the National Assembly knew why they did what they did.
Yes.
Because they know that within direct primaries, they can buy up the delegates. It's prone to corruption.
Yes.
Indirect primary is prone to corruption. They camp the delegates in hotels and bus them to venues of primaries to make sure that none of them is bought over. And it's very easy to buy 1,500, 2,000 people than buying up millions of people.
Yes.
So let me cut you short. Recently, a few days ago, in a BBC interview, former governor of Kano State, Kwankwaso, yes, was talking about this, and he said, well, he support the direct primaries because in indirect primary where you have the delegate system, the electoral college, that even a delegate belongs to you. The moment he sees dollar notes, he will turn his back against you.
Yes.
So the direct primary is the
It
And
is.
governors have the advantage when it comes to.
It's not only governors,
Yes.
even very rich
People,
senators
yes.
and
Exactly.
party leaders who are willing to contest. Because you see, while parties can level allegations and make accusations against INEC, they themselves cannot conduct a free and fair primary. But my own position is this: when something is not broken, you don't need to fix it. Section 87 of the Electoral Act is okay. It gives option of either direct or indirect primary.
So
Why do you have to narrow it to direct? Because you may end up cutting your nose in order to spite your face. Now look at it this way: even with direct primaries, it's still prone to corruption, because depending on the constituency you are vying for, you can also bribe people. The only thing is that you may not bribe them in dollars, but even this 3,000, 5,000 you give.
in fact, people can be coerced,
Of course, now.
threatening to leave.
So, you know, even direct primary will not be automatic for all members. You have to be a financial member of the party. You possibly may also have met some terms and conditions. Maybe you must have stayed 6 months or 1 year within the party for you to be eligible, attendance of party activities and all of that. So even that can be used to screen out a lot of people. But the most important thing is, this is supposed to help to build internal party democracy. But the reason why governors are lobbying is because of their own self-interest. Many of them either want second term, and they know that if they go through direct primaries, they may not get. Look at what happened in Lagos now. Even with direct primary against somebody, when the odds were against somebody, the delegate from Lagos, from Abuja, who went to conduct the primary in Lagos, have already finished their work. Everybody is still kicking against it. Where he was screened out. So even this primary is even one leg of the problem. The first leg is that screening committee, because the party will set up screening committee. Who will be in that screening committee? They are usually the loyalists of the governor. So what they will just do is, even without any good justification, they will screen that. Maybe I show you now, he wants to go for Senate and they don't want him. They will just screen it out. Then they will say go on appeal to party. Even at the appeal committee is also the loyalists that you meet there. They will uphold your being screened out, which is what happened in the case of Obaseki. You understand?
Yes,
he went to appeal committee, they upheld they said you don't have certificate. This is somebody who is a sitting governor that is on the same platform. They said so. By the time he went to court, they have already concluded the primary. So they know what they are doing when they orchestrate this whole problem with the screening out of online of candidates that they don't want to even. And these people, you won't mind collecting their millions. Did you know that this Anambra election, a land in PDP or APC, is 25 million naira to buy nomination for? So when you pay 25 million in today's Nigeria, even in spite of weakness of naira, just imagine that kind of enormous resource. That can build you a very decent bungalow in a very good location. Even as we speak of cost of property. So somebody will not pay that, and then you now screen him out, and the money you pay is not refundable. It's not refundable. That's you are beating a child. You are saying you should not cry. So when they now take the party to court, you say anti-party, you are suspended, or they have. So all these shenanigans that play out in our political parties, and it's not as if they don't know it's wrong. I know there is a PPL PDC in NIPS Kuru, in one of their resource persons that have been building capacity of these political gatekeepers, political executives. But even when you train them, they already knew what they intended to do. There is also this in the International Republican Institute, which is also building capacity of
Yes.
political parties. There are other, non-state actors that have been responsible for capacity building for political parties, including NILS here in Abuja, National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies. So they have all these requisite skills, but they apply it wrongly, because he who pays the piper dictates the tune. That's why you see these congresses being very emotive, because it's the loyalists that they are already planting there. So who will do the actual job when the time comes for party primaries? And where it starts from is when you screen out eligible candidates after they have paid for the form, or you now say you want to go consensus, as they are doing now. Somebody who collected money from, they buy the form, you now say you want to do consensus. By the time they come up with the list, you are not even aware. It just comes out of the governor's office, and then they say this is the new executive. We have arrived at it by consensus, which is not right. So these are the things we need to fix in our 22 years of democracy. That due process should be followed in all that we do. When you set up electoral guidelines, let reason be made clear why you are disqualifying somebody, and it should not be flimsy. Like with the Electoral Act 2006, which shot PDP in the foot when Ojo Madueke was the secretary of the party. Section 34 of that Electoral Act 2006 said, for you to disqualify a member, somebody who has been nominated in a primary, you must offer cogent and verifiable reason. When they disqualified Chibike Amechi in 2006, they didn't offer any reason. Obasanjo said his nomination got K-leg. What is K-leg? What is K-leg? You now go and bring somebody who did not even contest in the primary, Celestine Omeya, and made him the governor. You understand? This is the shenanigans that have been haunting our party politics over the last decades. And this is what we need to do away with as we do this Congress and convention, and as we go into the primaries in 2022.
I think the political parties in Nigeria have a long way to go to learn, honestly, to look like what we always allude to, the American model of democracy, because the political parties in America are not doing the way our own political parties here are doing. Many thanks to Ojide Ojo for this wonderful analysis on this Thursday morning. We hope to see you next week, Wednesday, for another edition of it. And of course, Winifred, it's time to go.
It's time to go. Don't forget to bring start placing order now for your birthday tomorrow.
All right, viewers, make a day with us tomorrow, Friday, October 29, my birthday, for another edition of Inside Nigeria. There might be a party on the show. From here, my name is Bodi Gbadibo. Bye for now.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.